Hey guys, so the other day I pulled for Bulwark and got him. Then after that, I thought about it for a long time and I decided that I really enjoy Clash of Wills. I want all the Clash of Wills options. So I went and pulled for Bulwark later that night as well. Not Bulwark, I went and pulled for Cressnik later that night as well. And got Cressnik too. So now we're going to be doing a few different clears on Kyros using the new units, Bulwark and Cressnik. So I'm going to start off using both of them on the same team for like a basic clear. We're not going to use any modifiers. We're just going to do a little bit of a slower clear using Elena as our only real damage dealing unit. Anyway, I will also do some like high score runs later using Cressnik and or Bulwark on the team. But for now, we're going to be doing this team. This is going to be using Bulwark for support. He's going to be imbuing, etc. Overall, the gear isn't really that high-end. I am using one or two STMRs here and there, but for the most part, the gear we're using is pretty accessible. We're not using any limited stuff, any critical limited stuff like Philosopher's Stones or anything like that. Gabranth in the base form is using a little bit of bulk. He does have some light resist in case we decide to use Cressnik's Magnus ability. We're probably not going to. We're not going to need it, I don't think, but the option's there if we want it. Shift form is full evasion, so we can cross that threshold pretty safely during a safe turn, that is. Cressnik is just built for, a little bit of spirit. We're dual wielding with quad attack on him because his base form his normal attack fills LB gauge, so we're quad attacking it with dual wield and an item that gives us multi attack. If you don't have Yeti combat style, you can use like Aurora Scarf does the exact same thing. So here's his build, a little bit of LB fill as well. Shift form, identical, dual wielding with quad attack. And we're starting him in the shift form. Cacteria is going to be our breaker. You can replace her with any breaker you want. I just really like Cacteria. Base form, kind of whatever, a little bit of mana reduction, LB fill. Shift form, she's going to be a support chainer with our Elena. She's locked to water or earth element, so she's not really going to deal any relevant damage, but she is going to be a support chainer with Elena. Elena is going to be our primary damage dealer. If you don't have Louise, Yigni, or Skye, Elena is like the fourth best choice. So we're going to take her. We are using a two-handed fist weapon because we're using Cacteria. Cacteria imperils fist. We're going to use a fist weapon. If you don't have Cacteria, swap out her weapon for whatever matches your team the best. So we are using a few STMRs like Ravenhearts because they're really old. I figured it was fine to use. Other than that, she gears for killers like basically for free. I think her on Diablos is already max killers, I think, potentially. Oh, I'm sorry, that plus the Igaunt arm. In any case, gear her for max killers and she'll carry the fight for damage. Shift form is kind of whatever, just a little bit of mana reduction or mana fill. Terra in the base form is kind of whatever. I just throw on some random bulk on her, like who cares. Shift form is geared for damage. I kind of like gave her like a halfway build, not super budget, but not like perfect, not best in slot either. So just, kind of whatever stuff. One or two STMRs, but we're not like loaded down with STMRs. She's going to help do a final blow on the kill turn. Okay, let's get in here and give it a go. So the cool thing about Cressnik is he fills morale gauge extraordinarily fast. So we're going to have the morale filled in like 3 turns. So here's the mana drain. Cressnik is in the shift form currently. So we're going to use, like I mentioned, his normal attack that is built to quad. And we're going to fill LB gauge for the party with Cressnik's normal attack. That fills up Bulwark to where we can shift and put up Bulwark's shifted LB, which is going to fill mana for the party. So now the party can use mana. So Gabranth is going to Judges, Circle, and Volunteered. Terra will just cross-summon Golem. Elena will start filling morale gauge for us. And Cacteria is going to do... We're going to do Cactus Break, Unfaltering Resolve, and Unwavering Faith. That's going to blind the boss and break him. So yeah, so turn 1 is really easy with Cressnik and Bulwark. Obviously, if you don't have the two of them together, it gets a little bit trickier. You would need to use things like Folka or Ling or some other way to refill mana. But with those two together, it's a great combo. Okay, so now we're going to use Cressnik's shifted form Arcane Stimulant. This is going to auto-cast a huge morale buff every single turn for the rest of the fight, forever and ever and ever. Bulwark is going to double jingle. We're going to Electric Ensemble to fill mana, and we're going to Chirrup to fill more morale gauge. Reload Terra for Golem. Reload Elena for morale fill. Cacteria can now use her base form LB for the stronger breaks, and Gabranth can just reload as well. And notice the morale gauge is like basically almost full at this point on turn 2. And on turn 3, it should be pretty much all the way filled almost because of Cressnik. Cressnik, you know, may not have the biggest damage support, but at least Cressnik can fill this morale gauge like no one's business. He is really good at morale filling. Okay, so we're now going to use Cressnik to do, what's this skill we wanted to do? I forgot what it's called. Uh-oh, I'm looking it up right now. We're going to do Arcane Remedy. No, Arcane Potion in the base form. It gives a barrier every single turn for the rest of the fight. Bulwark is going to Chirrup, Sacred Symphony, and Moogly Mixtape. Gabranth is just going to Circle and Judges. Terra can just Golem. Elena can Azure Might and Legendary Heroine. And we can just guard Cacteria. We don't really need anything from her this turn. And there we go. The morale is above 180, and now we're going to start dealing damage. The reason we didn't deal damage on turn 2 is we're going to use wind damage, and the boss absorbs wind damage on turn 2. I think it's turns 2, 6, 9, something like that. I don't know. In any case, the boss was absorbing wind damage last turn, but now he's not absorbing wind, so we're going to deal some damage now. So we're now in the base form with Cressnik. We're going to use his base form LB, which is going to put up another autocast for the rest of the fight to refill mana for the remainder of the fight. So, like, the mana problems are basically been solved at this point. So we're going to shift Bulwark. We're going to Hurricane Harmony, Sacred Symphony, and we're going to Chocophony to hit the boss and absorb those counters. Alright, Terra is going to Golem. We just reload Gabranth. And now let's go ahead and start dealing some damage. So we're going to chain with Cacteria. Now this is going to be wrong element, but that's okay. Elena can go to the base form, and we're going to chain Salvation 3 times. Let's put up the good attack and magic buff, and let's deal some damage. So the morale gauge isn't quite filled all the way. Once it is, Elena's going to deal a lot more damage, but as you can see, even with the morale gauge only at 187, Elena is dealing really good. We did 26%. Next turn, the morale is completely filled. So we're going to push the rest of this threshold next turn. And turn 5 is a good turn to push it. Turn 5, 6, and 7 are safe turns to cross the threshold to 50% with evasion. So remember how we geared the shift form of Gabranth for evasion? So we're going to go ahead and just shift him and guard. He's evading in the shift form. Let's go ahead and put up the attack and magic buff. Alright, let's have Cacteria. Whoops, I didn't mean to shift. Go back, go back. Alright, first, let's go to the shift form with Bulwark. We're going to Hurricane Harmony, Sacred Symphony, and I don't think we need anything else specifically. I guess we'll just Moogle Mixtape to keep his triple cast going. We don't really need anything from Cressnik either, so we'll just do Medicinal, Medicinal Potion, Medicinal Remedy, and Medicinal Supplement. He's got too many medicinal skills, makes me sad. Alright, and we'll just reload the DPS, and we'll push that next threshold. Now, if your DPS is a little bit lower, your Elena is like less geared or whatever, like I mentioned, pushing the threshold on turn 5, 6, or 7 are all good turns. And the turn you do push it, you want your tank in evasion. Terra can just hang out for now. And of course, the stupid boss, Gabranth didn't cover because he was slow at covering. Sometimes a counterattack will get through. That was really unfortunate. Big sad face. Well, we're going to stall for a little bit. That makes me very sad that happened. But it's going to happen every now and then. Oh well. So I guess now we're stalling. Let's get Get her back up. We're going to do Medicinal Mastery, and we're going to do Medicinal Potion. That's a mitigation against humans. Let's put Gabranth back in the base. Whoop, back in the base form, where we will do Circle and Judges. Let's put up Golem. Let's have. Let's go to the base form with Bulwark and do his LB. And Elena can just go to the shift form and put up Azure Might, you know, whatever. Yeah, Cacteria should not have died there. Unfortunately, Gabranth was slow at covering a counterattack. And that happens every now and then. It's like a 10% chance to happen per turn. So every now and then, that's just going to happen. Really sad that it did happen. But it's not that big a deal. We'll just recover. As you can see, with Cressnik and Bulwark on the team, the boss does incredibly low damage. Of course, we don't have modifiers on either, which is a big part of it. But even so. Okay, so let's go ahead and use Cacteria to break the boss again. We're going to go ahead and burst the boss next turn. So let's get Terra ready to go. We'll use her typical setup. We will Trance-Burst and Magitech Release Fire, and then whatever. Let's see. Bulwark, let's shift him. And let's Hurricane, Sacred Symphony, and Chocophony, I guess. I don't know. Gabranth will cover, mitigate. Let's go ahead and put up a Magnet. We're not using Golem this turn. Elena can just Azure Might, whatever. We don't want to hit the boss other than, you know, Fat Chocobo. That's fine. We'll just do Medicinal. I don't know. We'll just do stuff. I'm actually not entirely sure the best way to use Cressnik, but once Cressnik's autocast are all done, he's kind of got like just a bunch of free turns to do whatever he wants. Okay, at this point, Cressnik is basically autocasting everything he needs to do per turn, so he has free turns to just like hang around and look dumb. Anyhow, now we're going to go ahead and burst the boss and finish him off with our 3 DPS. So the morale is at maximum, as you can see here. Let's go ahead and put up the good attack and magic buff. Cacteria will shift here. And we will Oasis 3 times. Elena will go to the base form, where we will, let's see, Blade, Piercing. Terra will do her LB. In case we got Dispelled, let's Hurricane, Sacred, and just whatever. In case we don't kill the boss, we'll Chocophony with him first, in case the boss doesn't die. Although if the boss doesn't die and push the threshold, honestly, it kind of messes up the plan, so hopefully it doesn't. Anyway, we're going to send Terra. We're going to wait, send the Chainers. And that should be the end of the boss here. And then first hit, second hit, and somewhere in there, Terra popped for some damage. And there we go. We did 641,000. So there it is, with only Elena as our real DPS. Terra too as well, technically speaking, but Elena big carried that fight. So let's see the breakdown. Oh yeah, Elena. And Terra did basically nothing. Honestly, Terra was kind of a dead slot. You could have replaced her with like literally anything you want. If you do have Louise, Skye, or Yigni, definitely bring them in place of Terra. Cressnik and Bulwark are great supports. They kept the tank extraordinarily healthy throughout the entire thing. Gabranth just sat there and tanked, and Elena carried the entirety of the fight. So there was like just a basic clear with, you know, minimal STMR usage, using a 0 modifier clear. So I'm gonna now work on some like higher end clears using. I keep getting asked to do a clear without Skye. So I'm gonna try a clear with no Skye, but it's probably not gonna damage cap. But I will give it a go and see the best I can do not using Skye. See you guys soon.